Hello and welcome to all. A young, pretentious boxer and Bling Bling who takes a humiliating defeat. A bowler who loves his ball so much that he doesn't like to let it go. Or a young, feverish soccer player who forgets to put his shorts on. Here are the 10 most embarrassing moments in sports. Bowling is a very popular sport in the United States, and many Americans of all ages and backgrounds are devoted to it. But to make a good strike, you need a very good grip to hold the ball, and you need to know how to aim well too. Because with a ball that can weigh up to 7 kilos for a diameter of more than 21 centimeters, you need a certain strength in your arms, as well as a dexterity that can't be beaten. On this unusual sequence, you can see that even a high-level champion can manage to hurt himself while bowling. The man you see on your screen is called Josh Blanchard, and for those who know anything about bowling, he is a true living legend. The Southern California native was indeed one of the best bowlers of his generation, and his record is littered with the most prestigious titles. But if the majority of his attempts turn out to be nice strikes, in the end, Josh Blanchard can just as easily miss, and sometimes in a very embarrassing way. As you throw the ball, you can see that it sticks to Josh's hand, his fingers stuck in the holes used to grip it, and under the effect of his weight, the American champion will literally lose his control and slide on the oiled track before falling painfully, with the ball still stuck to his hand. Anger often pushes us to commit irrational and completely stupid acts, such as hitting inanimate objects, which have not done us any harm. In this sequence, the coach of a women's soccer team is going to have a little fit after one of his players has committed a foul on the field. Probably wanting to vent his rage and immense frustration, the coach kicked a small plastic crate with his foot, making the small bottles of water it contained waltz on the ground. But the revenge of this poor little innocent crate will not be long in coming, because as you can see, the coach got his foot stuck while tapping it. And even if he wiggled his foot from right to left and up and down, nothing could be done. The crate was literally stuck to his foot. Finally, the furious coach hobbled off to the bench, where he was finally able to get rid of that damned crate. He was finally able to regain his freedom of movement, but not without the shame of his life, since one of the stadium's cameras had filmed all his misadventures. Almost all footballers who are relegated to the bench are almost always bubbling inside and hope only for one thing, that the coach will start a change on the field. Because it will be for them the only way to play and to prove themselves in order to be able to become a starter one day. It is therefore a great moment of intense emotion for a young and feverish footballer to see himself selected by his coach for a replacement in the middle of a match. Exactly like the brave player you see now on this sequence, and who had the honor to finally play in an official match. The feverish footballer changed his clothes in a very hurried manner in order to get back on the field as soon as possible and to be able to score his first goal in official competition. He got up quickly and headed to the field, but as you can see, our friend seems to have forgotten something in his outfit. The poor footballer was indeed so stressed by the events that he forgot to put on his shorts, thus running in his underwear without even realizing it. And if it were not for the members of the technical staff who ran after him to inform him, it is sure that he would have returned like that on the field. There is nothing more embarrassing nor more painful for figure skaters than to make a big fall on the hard and cold ice of the rink and in front of an audience counting by thousands. On this clip, you will witness just such a fail in full HD, and take my word for it, it was truly one of the most embarrassing and awkward moments of the 2018 Winter Olympics. During the crucial and delicate short program figure skating event, the Korean Kyun Kim and her dance partner will try to amaze the jury with an extremely spectacular and difficult acrobatic figure. But while executing it, all did not proceed as planned for the couple of skaters, because as you can see, the young lady is going to pick up a beautiful big fall that we imagine very painful. The sublime ice dancer indeed spread out all of its length and right on the face of the frozen ground of the rink in one of the most embarrassing moments of its young career. But against all odds, the young skater will get up almost immediately and will act as if nothing had happened, despite the fact that she is still stunned. On this sequence, you will have the right to a completely hilarious and highly improbable show, especially for a sport considered noble and very serious. The professional boxers are indeed rather known for their austerity and their serenity, and rare are the fighters that one could qualify as pretentious or provocative. Boxing is therefore a very noble sport, and boxers are all bound by a certain code of ethics and honor, making respect for one's opponents a true virtue. But since it is the exception that proves the rule, there are some pseudo-boxers who are anything but real fighters. On this sequence, we are going to show you one of them, and you will see that he has a real gift to make people hate him. Usman Ahmed, or Uzi if you prefer, was an English boxer evolved in the flyweight category. This young pipsqueak was, unfortunately, better known for his provocations and his stupid dances in the ring than for the quality of his hooks or his jabs. The images show us his musical entrance during a fight with his rival, boxer Ashley Sexton, taunting and provoking him from the beginning, even before the latter entered the ring. Uzi showed a total disrespect, but only a few minutes later, the pretentious little boxer was going to regret it, because Sexton gave him a terrible hook that sent him immediately to the mat. Completely stunned by this steamroller that just hit him, Uzi will remain lying on the ropes in a very pathetic way, and has nothing to do with his provocative attitude at the beginning. Let's move on to a very embarrassing and pathetic sequence, which comes from the Moroccan Soccer Championship. This absurd scene shows us, indeed, the precise moment when a player is shooting a penalty whistled by the referee. So far, nothing abnormal, you might say, but wait until you see the rest. Indeed, the young striker misses his shot since the goalkeeper managed to stop the ball, but instead of making sure that there was no danger to his cage, as any informed goalkeeper would have done, this stupid keeper decided that it was time to celebrate his achievement of having saved his goal. The ball, which was still under the influence of inertia, went straight to the bottom of the goal, while the keeper, who had his back turned, was proudly facing the fans who could not believe their eyes. The goal was conceded to the opposing team, who were still in disbelief at the action that had just taken place before their eyes. As for this poor and humiliated goalkeeper, he should rather learn never to count one's chickens before they're hatched. We still remain at the level of the Moroccan Championship with the following sequence, and as if by chance, it also concerns a goalkeeper who is completely out of his depth. Look at these improbable images where we can see a goalkeeper who tries to control the ball with his feet, as it was passed to him by one of his teammates, and he was not legally allowed to touch it with his hands. But as you can easily see, this poor goalkeeper lacks a lot of leg talent and misses completely his attempt to control the ball. But what's worse, the goalkeeper's attempt to clear the ball at the last moment was poorly aimed, and he ended up sending the ball into the bottom corner of his own net. The unfortunate goalkeeper suffered the embarrassment of the century with a silly own goal, but he can take comfort in the fact that the stadium was almost empty and there was no risk of him being booed off the pitch by the angry fans. Here is one of the most hilarious and embarrassing extreme sports sequences you will ever see. The young BMX champions who are now appearing on your screens were dutifully preparing for the start of a race that promised to be extremely exciting, to say the least. But when it came to the start, the damn starting gate that was supposed to close automatically to clear the way for the cyclists got stuck, causing them to fall. The poor competitors fell down with a big crash on the ground, and in spite of the numerous protections of their clothes, we can imagine that the fall was very painful. And that's without counting the intense embarrassment and shame that these unfortunate cyclists must have felt, who certainly did not expect such a turn of events. And the best part is that if you look at the pictures carefully, you will see the only cyclist who did not fall and who continues the race alone as if nothing had happened. The misfortune of some makes the happiness of others, isn't it? When they celebrate their hard-earned goals, some footballers sometimes go a little too far, because under the impulse of the hysterical joy that embraces them, their lucidity is somewhat compromised. You have to understand them too, because with the intense tension accumulated throughout the match, the saving goal is perceived as a real miracle, a bit like a shower in a desert. The following sequence shows you the goal celebration of the Hungarian fullback Attila Fiola, and you will see that it was not to the taste of everyone, and especially of this young journalist who was commenting the match. Indeed, after having scored a beautiful goal against the French team, Attila Fiola went at full speed towards the stands, jumping over the barriers in order to celebrate his achievement as close as possible to his supporters. But under the blow of the hysterical joy that inhabited him at that moment, the Hungarian player decided that it was wise to tap on the desk of a journalist installed there to cover the match. The latter, who was not expecting it at all, had the fear of her life, and a great moment of embarrassment followed. Attila Fiola would later apologize, but it can be said that he had ruined a beautiful moment of soccer with his gesture, to say the least inappropriate. And as always on your favorite YouTube channel, we have saved the best for last, with this ultra-embarrassing sequence for this poor creature named Karina Demedic. This sublime young woman of Belarusian nationality is an athlete specialized in high jump, and her prowess is world famous and respected. But as for all the high-level sportsmen, it happens sometimes that one misses completely on an event, thing which can nevertheless be very badly lived by some. On this sequence, you can see a huge failure suffered by the young and pretty Belarusian, as well as the huge disappointment that can be read on her face afterwards. But despite everything, the beautiful Karina Demedic remains one of the most efficient sportswomen in the world, and the numerous achievements that mark her course can easily mask this defeat. And that's it for today. What do you think of these 10 sports moments completely embarrassing for their protagonists? Which one of them impressed you the most? Tell us in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to put a like and subscribe and activate the notifications. See you soon for new discoveries out of the ordinary.